Hey everyone, thanks for attending another episode of Fervently Creations Marketplace Ministry. This is where we love to talk to people that are not only in the four walls of the church, but outside of the four walls of the church. What I tell people every show is that you have to know that there is five gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and you. And sometimes the only one they're going to pay attention to is the very last one I mentioned, which is you. So my question is, when they are talking to you, when they're approach you, when they're in your presence, right? How do you make them feel? Can they see the love of God? Or are you trying to weaponize scripture? Can they tell love by your actions, right? A lot of times we love to try to weaponize and beat people with scripture versus love them through the scripture. And a lot of time our actions and what we claim that we are professing is actually opposite of our actions, right? So I want everyone to be mindful that once you go out into the marketplace, whether where whatever mountain of influence that you're called to, you are to be a representation of light. I mean, pure light. You can't be hateful to people. You can't sit up there and be preaching few one day and then the next day you're on the phone with customer service and you're agitated and fussing them and blessing them or cussing them out, right? I like to say everybody a Christian until they get cut off in traffic. Everyone's a believer until they get cut off in traffic, right? Everyone is love you until they can't control you, until someone says something opposite of what you agree with or whatever. Can you love them even in the disagreement? Can you love them once you can't control their perspective of you, once you can't control their mindset towards you? Can you still love that person? Can you still be around them even though they have ways that are disapproving of yours? But could you be the light? Because first of all, who are you to approve or disapprove of their actions anyway? Who made you their God? All right, so I just want people to just be mindful of that. Once you're outside in the marketplace, man, represent light, represent love, because a lot of what people are representing and putting labels and titles on is very opposite of it. And though you're using the material that's supposed to be used for it, you are making it no good. So that's my thought today, just with all this and a lot of people's fake outrage with certain things or whatever. Be outraged with the fact of how we're not representing love. Be outraged at the fact of how we're not being representation of light. Be outraged about something real. Be outraged about that. So that's just my thoughts on today. As y'all know, I kind of give y'all a little my thoughts, but let me give you some information, other information. If you want to follow, find or support me in different ways, I do have some ways in which you can check me out or support others in which I am connecting to. So the first thing is I am doing I'm part of an anthology called Women of Worth, Men of Valor. The visionary is the amazing, I call her the apostolic marketplace apostle or whatever, but Dr. Jackie Hadnot, she is the visionary for this anthology. And so make sure you go on Amazon today or reach out to any of the authors to get you a copy. I am honored to be one of the co-authors in this one. So also notice that once you are purchasing this, you are not just buying a book, you're investing in collective voices rising together. All right. Also, I will be in London. Yes, London, July 18th with Dr. Kishma George for the Bring Forth the Dreamer London Prophetic Conference. If you are in UK or you're able to travel, come meet us there. It's going to be transformational. The conference is absolutely free, but I'm telling you, it's some powerhouses in there, and it is going to be well worth your trip if you're flying from the US. All right. Now, also, speaking of anthologies, I have my own anthology in which I'm doing, which is called the Rightly Dividing anthology. Now, for one, this is a series. This is a series. This is just our first one of many, and with this one, we're doing a callback to sound doctrine. Why am I doing this anthology? Because it's a lot of false information out there. It's a lot of people that are preaching and teaching stuff that they really have no knowledge on, that they really have not went and studied on. And so in order to correct a lot of the misinformation that is out there and a lot of the stuff that has been going on, the foolery that's going on within the church, it's going to have to take some sound people that know how to get in the word, dissect the word, and write and write in such a way to where it teaches what truth is. People don't know truth. If the ones of us that have the knowledge, if the ones of us that understand truth, if we continue to keep our mouths silent, then if that's the case, then keep your mouth silent and don't complain about what they're doing if you're not going to teach them the right way. All right. So this anthology is actually free $99. It is free $99 to write. The what is it called? I'm sorry. The book launch is also part of a bigger project as well, a bigger vision, which is going to be part of the Together We Create for Kids tour, right? With that is 6 authors, it's one mission. There's several ways that you can support. If you want to support through monetary donations, because again, like I said, it's 6 authors, one mission. All these conferences are free and they all bring different things, and I'll kind of give you some locations real quick here shortly, but they all bring different things to the table as well. So make sure you look into that. But if you want to support, because we're also giving back to kids as well, different things, clothes, shoes, books, personal hygiene items, as well as electronics, right? We want to be a blessing to the kids. We're trying to reach 200 kids in every stop that we make. And so with that, if you want to support us, you can go to the website. Let me put this website up here for you real quick. You can go to this website here, which is togetherwecreateforkids.square.site / and once you do that, if you're going in to look how to support, if you're hearing it here, hey, use my code TS767, right? Now let me go a little bit more into these tours. On this tour, we have Amber Miller, who is also one of the visionaries. Her stop is going to be in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. It is going to be a phenomenal experience. But this date that's on this flyer, which I'm not sure if many can see, but it's going to be changed to June 19th to June 20th, right? Amber Miller, Dr. Shante Human, y'all, I can't pronounce her name. I don't want to mess her name up, but Miss Melton, Miss Luster, myself, and Dr. Rose Hall. Now, if for those that are part of the rightly dividing, but if you want to come and just hear some sound teaching and hear things shift or whatever, kingdom teaching you mind, body, soul, and spirit through scripture, then come to Huntsville, Alabama. This is going to be August 22nd and August 23rd. That will be myself, Reverend Rose Maryland. I'm gonna call her Rev Mommy. That's my mommy. And then we got Prophetess Fanta Black. We got Apostle Rodney Sally. We got Evangelist Taliba. We got Evangelist Angela Owens and Apostle Thomas Evans, right? Come with us. We're going to sit and we are the speakers in that, and we are going to break down, dissect the word, and we're going to do it with no gloves, like no limitations. We're not fixing to stand up. We're going to sit down and teach to you. So this isn't a conference that's going to hype you up. It's not meant to hype you up. It's to teach, to transform, and to inform, right? Also, we have Dr. Lanice, and in hers is in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So Wisconsin, we got Dr. Latanya Baker, we got Marlo Shaw, we got James, I think that says James Pierce. I can't see them signs. We got Miss Tyler Phorever. That is our speaker our interview, our guest for today. We got Deletria Sam, and we also have Robert Lee Phillips as well. So listen, also Powerhouse, make sure you get there. Make sure you get there as well. Want to say these dates are in September. I definitely need to get my other theme. Okay, so these dates are in, it's going to be in September. Then we also have, let me go back, August 8th. a lot of our speakers will be receiving honorary doctorates. They will receive this August 8th in West Palm Beach, Florida. Destiny Brown, which is our visionary, or the visionary of all of this, or where she's going to host that, and that's going to be how to break out of the person you used to be and become everything you know you were called to be. This is also transformational, but I will also be a speaker there. We have Ambassador Dr. Vanessa Williams. That is who is also helping us with the honorary doctorate. So shout out to her. We have Deneen J. Jordan, and we have Alessandro Velez. I probably said his name wrong as well, but hey. And then we have, our very first stop, Pass the Test. This is with Mo Nelson. And this one we have Taria Avant. We have Raheel Sadiq. He told me how to pronounce his name. I've interviewed him. Amazing man, right? And then Diane Peterson. I promise you, what were we doing with these names, man? And then we have in California, Carson, California. I'm sorry. Pass the Test is going to be in Tampa, Florida, June 6 and 7. Okay, now going over to Kingdom of Learning, opening up to new possibilities. This one is going to be Dr. Don Minge. And several speakers is there. We got Phil, we got Ernie, we got Lisa, Gerard, and Chinindu. Yeah, I definitely are not doing good with these names here. But anyway, that's July 11th and July 12th. Listen, there's so many different ways, again, like I said, that you are able to support us in as well. So make sure if you want a t-shirt, or if you just want to sew, however you want to do it, we are looking for all help. And again, I'm going to put this website up here, which is togetherwecreateforkids.square.com. So we would love to have you to either support or at least show up, right? All right. You got that out the way. Now, let me tell y'all, I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to this interview. But before we get into the interview portion and we talk to this amazing woman on today, phenomenal, I want to bring her up, and we're just going to have a discussion, because y'all know how I do. I love to talk about the word first. I love to see what it is that other people have, and just to get wisdom, knowledge from other people. And so I've been waiting, anticipating, sitting with Miss Tyler Phorever. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm doing great, Tish. Thanks for having me. And that intro, girl, I was locked in. I said, hold on. That intro in the beginning, I forgot I was a guest speaker for a moment, because you was laying it down. Okay. So yes, ma'am. But I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. Now, woman with much wisdom, let's talk about Proverbs 4:7. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding.
Yes,
get understanding. What do you say about this verse?
Yes, that is one of my favorite Bible scriptures, and it is just in my opinion, just a flat out guide for how we're supposed to go through and live in our lives. So if you break it down, in first one it says, wisdom is the principal thing, and therefore get wisdom. With all that getting, get understanding. So first, the thing is that there's something that we are continuously supposed to be getting and supposed to be aiming towards, something that we're supposed to be continuously seeking. And then of course that would be wisdom. But it's not enough just to seek wisdom. You have to also seek understanding. And me being somebody who has a chronic illness, I have epilepsy, this played a huge part in my awareness and where I'm at today, because it's a difference between experiencing something and then understanding that experience. So you can be wise. There's a lot of times people may get wise just based off of lived experiences. You've been there, you felt it, you've seen it, so you have a great connection with it. but there can still be a very big lack of understanding truly what that is, what it means, and how it applies to yourself. So when I think of, or when I see this scripture, that's exactly where my mind goes to.
So I love a few things that you said. For one, to get is getting.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's something that we're not supposed to stop doing. Like as
Mm-hmm.
I continue to gain in knowledge, grow in knowledge, I learned that the more I know, the less I know.
Absolutely. I
Right?
say all the time, I'm everything and I'm nothing. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So that means I am fully always empty. I'm a vessel that is continuously poured into, but at the same time, I am everything. There's nothing that I cannot seek. There's nothing that I cannot reach. There's nothing that I cannot become, as long as I have that. And when I think of getting, the words that point out to me are wisdom and understanding, but getting to me is all about willingness. It comes down to your will. And if you can have the instinct, you can have the wisdom, you can even have the understanding, but if at some point you lack the will to do those things, they fall off. They fall off. You can't get anything. You can't continue to grow. You can't continue to seek if you don't have the willingness. So when I see get understanding, or with all thy getting, yeah, even it's saying, even with everything that you have obtained, everything that you understand, I mean, that you know, you still have to understand that. And that's where the willingness comes in, the vulnerability to kind of set yourself aside from what you think you are wise to, and get understanding about that.
Right. Because wisdom is the building block of all understanding.
Absolutely.
Right. And
Yeah.
so, but even with the getting and trying and getting the knowledge or whatever, like a lot of people, like you said, it's the willingness, and a lot of people are not willing to go get it themselves. And so what they
Mm-hmm.
do is that they'll sit and they will outsource their wisdom, their knowledge, and their information to someone else. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, you go study it and then come back and give me a summary. You go study
Mm-hmm.
it and then give me the highlights of what you got from it. But they do
Right.
not take the time to actually sit and say, you know what, let me figure this out. Because like you said, if I can understand it,
Mm-hmm.
I can understand how to use it, when to use it. So especially once we go into our bodies and all that stuff, once I can understand what tension is and how I hold tension in my body and stuff, once I can
Absolutely.
understand and feel my body, once I can understand vibrations, when I can
Mm-hmm.
understand sound, when I can understand frequency, then it helps me with understanding my body. Once I can understand water, because we're made
Mm-hmm.
up of water as well as salt. Once I can understand water and salt,
Absolutely.
I can understand and I can apply that wisdom. But
Mm-hmm.
if we don't get the understanding of what it is, then I think that's how you have a lot of people, and just for I'm gonna use just lack of better terms, that's how you have a lot of people doing witchcraft, I would say. And let
Yeah.
me just, because what it is that they're doing things without understanding of what they're doing, and do not
Mm-hmm.
understand. So once you don't understand the spiritual to the natural, and how it correlates into the natural, you will find yourself operating in deceptive ways, in manipulative ways, in controlling
Mm-hmm.
ways. Once you continue to just do what everybody else is doing. And one thing I say is the crowd killed Jesus.
Right. Mm.
So, and that was a lot because a lot of people wasn't going and seeking and understanding what it, and you know what, today the crowd still killed Jesus, or
Yeah.
it still killed the chosen ones. Let me say it that way. It still
Okay.
killed the chosen ones. The crowd still kills the anointed ones
Mm-hmm.
because they
Yeah,
have
and that's
no.
when you leave.
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
and
go ahead.
then things are left up for interpretation, for however you feel like it's best fit versus what it is. When something is, it can't. I mean, you can receive it in your own way. That's not up for debate. How you receive something is how you receive something. But true understanding and getting in the process, that is all a process. And getting understanding, that is a process in itself. So if you skip that part and go straight from, okay, this is what it is, jump past the understanding and just go to your conclusion, you're not even qualified. You yourself not even qualified to be able to conclude a conclusion without even having some type of direct understanding. And then that's where you have a lot of internet preachers. You got a lot of different type of people who I like to say they are great at word association. People are great at word association. They know where to put the word where it fits. But they don't know what they're talking about, Tish. Not at all. They don't know what they're talking about. When you know what it is and you have true understanding, it doesn't just come out of your words. It doesn't just come out of your mouth. It's embedded in your understanding. And our understanding as just human beings go far beyond what we could articulate. Goes into deep within our system, our nervous system. That's why when people have stress, they start to feel pain in their neck, in their body, in their back, and because your body is connected to your understanding as well. Your body, your spirit, and your mind. So all those things, and you aren't developed. You don't spend time developing that, discovering that, nurturing that. You don't actually really know who you are. You know what I'm saying? So you're not even in a place to create a basis for yourself to understand certain things. And you know what? That's okay, because I feel like at some point we all were at a place where we leaned onto our own understanding, but there's a scripture even on that. Lean not into your own understanding. They all come into together in one pot, and we are just continuously supposed to get fed. We're just continuously supposed to get fed and continuously supposed to get fed. And if you feel like you've already know what you know, and that you're at the end run and nobody can tell you anything, nobody can show you anything. If you're a person who is not a believer and you're stuck in your ways and you refuse to hear anything else or the opposite, then you're not really going to get to a place of growth. Growth doesn't work that way. Growth works with openness, vulnerability, and willingness, and you can achieve those things through like the scripture says.
So today in my reading, I came across, I know this wasn't in our thing, but it's in our conversation. Proverbs 1. And it said, Proverbs 1, let's see, verse 22, it says, how long, you simpletons, will you insist on being simple-minded? How long will you mockers relish your mocking? How long will you fools hate knowledge? Right? He said, how long will you fools?
How long will you fools? Called you out.
Hate knowledge, right? And then Hebrews, let me go into here. I want to say it's Hebrews 5:11. It says, there is much more we would like to say about this. Listen, hold on. There's much more that me and Tyler would love to say about this, but it's difficult to explain, especially since you are spiritually dull and don't seem to listen. It's so much more we would love to say. Like Jesus even said it, right? He was telling the disciples, "There's so much more I would love to teach you." Right. Paul said it, and the thing is that a lot of people hate knowledge.
Yeah, because why would I want to be taught or be aligned with the truth when I'm so comfortable in my own world, my own life? I say all the time,
my own illusion.
In my own illusion, I say all the time that we have our world, and by our I mean the self, and then we have our shared world, which is the mass world that we're all in under God's creation. We share the same air, same resources, everything from the next person to the smallest ant that you can't even recognize. We all share the same atmosphere. So a lot of times people get confused with the world they're in with their shared world. You thinking that this isolation box that you're in and that you have convinced yourself that this is the way of can apply to this outside world without having any other openness or connection to that. This is now a shared world. We're sharing stories. That's how history even works. So we're sharing stories, we're sharing knowledge, we're helping our brother and our sister with
understanding patterns.
With understanding patterns, any type of resources. But if you are closed off, like the word said, I'm trying to tell you, I'm trying to put you on. I'm really trying to let you know. But if you're already closed off, then there's no point, because you are stuck in your world, but you want to operate in a shared world. You want to operate in this openness that we all have to come together. We all have to have some level of understanding for each other, understanding for what's going on, understanding for the word. And you got plenty different. That's where you can go to 3 different churches on Sunday. They all are talking about the same scripture, and you're gonna get 3 different sermons. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to have a different perspective of something, but it's different when your perspective is alone the only thing that you can go off of, and it doesn't have any growth to it. It can't be added to it. It can't be taken away from it. I'm one of those people who, I don't mind being wrong. I don't get embarrassed by that type of stuff, because if I'm loud and wrong, then I'm loud and wrong. You know what I mean? And I love being corrected. I love being, because now I'm in the know. Now I can be more so in tune with whatever it is that I'm lacking knowledge of, or just have a misunderstanding of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? People just don't like being wrong, or people don't like being like that secondhand embarrassment type of thing, where it's like
exposed.
That's the word I was looking for. People don't like to feel exposed. Like, you know what? I know this is what it is. I'm staying my box.
To be exposed, like how I'm fixing to go here, right?
Go ahead.
Being exposed. You have a lot of people that's coming up against the fraternities and sororities and stuff, and it's a lot of Christian believers. But let's be exposed for real. Have y'all actually searched the origin of Christianity?
Yeah.
While
we going there with it too?
Can we go there?
Go in there? We can go there. We can go there.
And so a lot of people they have this fake outrage about whatever the crowd is, whatever, and so until their favorite preacher, until their favorite pastor come in and tell them, hey, the origin of Christianity was built on murder, deception, control, manipulation, and political gain. They don't want to hear that. And I say that for someone who has degrees in religion. My doctorate is in biblical studies. So if I tell you this as someone that has studied it,
did the work.
I've done the work. I've had to sit in that truth and then say, you know what, I can no longer live the lie. And the reason why we live the lie is because we're scared to be excommunicated from the group that we was already in. And,
absolutely.
And for my thing is, I'd rather be excommunicated and be in alignment. I'd rather be the low man on the totem pole than to lead a pack of fools.
Absolutely.
Because yes, I have enough knowledge to lead a pack of fools. I have enough knowledge to tell you exactly what you want to hear, to feed your itching ears.
Right.
But that's not going to get you to where you need to be. It's not going to help you understand that the kingdom of God is within you. It's not going to help you understand that the essence of God is inside of everything and everyone that you meet. So kind of going into your other thing where you says true knowledge is knowing the order of things and living in alignment with it. Then for me, and I'm going to have you help us with that, with the understanding. But for me, then that means I don't understand it. The essence of God is in the tree. The essence of God is in the grass. The essence of God is in the stars and the moon, but as well as in your dog and in the cat and in the giraffe and all the essence of God is in every single thing. And once we all come into alignment and quit chasing after systems and false gods, once we start realizing that we are gods,
absolutely,
and start owning our power and living in alignment with that, we will see the paradigm shift within the world. Once we all move to get to the spectrum of love.
Yes.
But everybody is they want to judge. You want to judge my actions on whether my actions are good or evil. No, judge yourself. You can't judge me. You have no authority to judge me. Judge not, least you be judged.
Yes.
Because
absolutely.
What we consider judge is not the same thing that once the Bible talks about righteous judgment.
Absolutely.
Judging comes through your opinions. And if you don't understand knowledge, you can't judge my knowledge. You can't judge my actions if you haven't went and studied what true knowledge is.
Right. And like you were saying earlier too, though, it's, a lot of times, let me see how I want to say this. More so like, so I'll speak more so to the Black and brown communities, right? A lot of times Christianity is a household tradition. It ends up being a household tradition. You're born into a household that's already Christian. You go to church, you learn the word. That's the essence of your relationship. And you call on God when you need him, or however how that goes with that person. But that's a lot of times the essence. But I've always said, and it's always a debate. It's always funny because it's always a debate when you bring this up, but how that got into your lap. The knowledge, that Bible, that word, how it got into your lap. It's not enough just to know the content in it. You have to know the history behind it as well. And I think a lot of times what happens,
especially in the Black and brown community, and how it was taught early on through slavery, and how the slave masters made sure that the Bible was taught from one perspective, and we're continuing on with these same things, traditions and teachings and stuff that's not even biblically. And then we stay within the 66 once it's a whole plethora of information that will bring you deeper into the understanding.
Yes.
I
go ahead.
Let me take myself off the screen. Go ahead.
I'm the same way. But a lot of times it comes down to just it's more so reaction than responding and understanding, because a lot of times when people will hear that with me, when I want to talk about more so origins about things, or I might just add that, and they go hard for the word. They will go hard for the content of the word and things like that. And it's like, you're standing on what you feel like is defending your religion or defending your faith and your belief against something that you feel like is maybe contradicting or going against what you've known all this time, when really it's just more so expounding on that. But all it is just a trick. All that is, oh, you said something against my God, boom, I've got to go come at you with everything that I can. And it's more than likely has no substance majority of the time. People who are closed off to even knowing more things about that, they're already closed off in the mind. And so here where it says true knowledge is knowing the order of things and living in alignment with it. That comes from my understanding of the Mayette concept. And Mayette is my girl. I'm not necessarily like, I don't serve any Egyptian god or anything like that, but I do revere to a lot of their teachings. And so with Mayette, that concept is the symbolism for cosmic order, for truth, for divinity, for balance, and knowing where I said true knowledge is knowing the order of things. That's not like knowing what's going to happen next or anything like that. It's about the order within self. When you truly know yourself, when you truly know what it is, and on a spiritual level, on a physical level, emotional, mental, all of the checkpoints, it's knowing the order of what's going on and then stepping into alignment with it through your actions, through your livelihood. So I'll start with myself. Me, like I told you before, I have epilepsy. And I've had it since I've been 14. I'm in my 30s now, so it's been a while. But it took me till my very, very late 20s for me to really understand what in the world was going on and who I was in it. And so I was bound. I thought I was balancing all of this, just seizure control over here. I'm trying to balance, trying to work, medicine, all these other things that regular people go through every single day that are different things that can weigh on you. And the knowledge of Mayet, or to have true Mayet, is to be weightless. Is to have balance and to have order in your life. And they say that when you pass away in Egyptology, when you pass away, when you die, that you don't actually die, just that your heart, you go to judgment, and that in judgment, that your heart is weighed against Mayet's feather. And if your heart is lighter or the same weight as her feather, then you have lived a life of peace, of order, under the laws of Mayet and things like that. And if it is more than that, if it weighs more than that, then you haven't done those things, and you are punished on those reasons. But when I came across that concept as a younger girl, I was really just trying to find my way. I really was just trying to find what it really was that I believed. I had started breaking out of the concept of the same traditional Christianity, and I started asking a lot of questions. I started finding out there were way more books. I started finding out way more things I never learned inside the church. There was so much more depth and so much more knowledge that went way beyond the church, that I started coming across that seemed like it aligned with what I was dealing with. So I'm trying to juggle being an adult with this chronic illness, and I'm realizing and I'm learning more about her, and I'm realizing the thing that was missing in my life was order. And I don't mean order as being organized and knowing what you're going to do at 9 o'clock and 12 o'clock and 3 and 4 and every day and things like that. We live in the real world. And randomness is a guarantee. Is a guarantee in this world. But having true order is being aligned with yourself. I've had to sit in some of the hardest, darkest, roughest places of my life and of myself and of my own understanding to break it down for me to see why I did the things I did, why I used the words I did, why I treated people or had reactions to certain things the way that I do. And when you truly have that understanding, you can, I promise you, and I say this to other people who have chronic illness specifically, you can flourish. You do. I say this disability does not define this ability, okay? Because I can do way more than what is supposed in front of me. Whatever the doctors, whatever other people's experiences was, it is very intimidating in your face. But when you know who you are, when you are in true knowledge of the order of Tyler, of the order of Tish, of the order of whomever the person is, then, and you not only are aware and knowledgeable of that order, you live in it in your actions. So like you were saying in the intro, when you're a Christian as long as you're not tested. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're a Christian, as long as things are good, you're a Christian. As long as you got that in your back pocket, that God knows my heart and he'll forgive me for this. You know what I'm saying? I can go ahead. He don't piss me off. I don't watch. One thing I watch all the time, I still watch, is what's it called? Not Ricky Smiley. What's his name? Nephew Tommy's prank calls. And I still go back and watch them all the time. And all it takes is for them to get to a certain level of anger, and then all of that is out of the window. And I'm not judging anybody for that, because at the same time, I understand that sometimes you get to a place of flusterness, but the question is, do you stay in it? Do you stay in it? Because you're not necessarily responsible for the source of your trauma, of your reactions, or of anything like that. The source is the source. Something hurt you, it hurt you. Something disappointed you, it disappointed you. Something made you angry, pissed you off. Guess what? It did that. But what happens is, when you allow it to settle, when you allow it to sink, and when you allow it to stay, then you did that. You gave it permission to define how it shows up in you. So now you're out of order with yourself, because you don't even know that when this man, or when you are in a conversation and they're talking about men and men in the church, or men and or just the topic of maybe sex, and you have like a sexual history of something necessarily bad happening, and that you felt like you dealt with it, but really you can push that to the side. You can push something down so much to where it newly manifests into a different thing. And that could be quick reactions, that could be quick judgments, that could be avoidance. All those things is, how does that show up in your life? And you don't really get to those answers until you get to a center of yourself. You have to be able to navigate through the chaos, and that is what I believe the Miette concept to stand for. And that's one of the reasons why I adhere to it so much, is because I live a life of chaos. I mean, having epilepsy, I've had seizures that threw me down steps before, that had me walking over in on train tracks, almost getting hit by trains before. It is a very chaotic, and it can be very scary. But if you live in that and invite the chaos and allow it to stay, then how it shows up in you later on will be completely out of alignment than what you really are and what it is that you really want, because you don't really want that pain. You don't really want to hold on to that. You don't really, but at the same time, people use their own pain as leverage. People do. People will. I've done that before. I have used the excuses of my disability to get me out of situations before, and those came back to bite me in the butt, because you can seem like, you know what, I'm down, and you have all these hardships and all these other things that are valid points as to why things are difficult. But when you accept those things as they are, and you start to state them and you start to claim them, they become etched into your brain. Now you have rewired your way of thinking. Now you have rewired your way of movement. And I had to learn that the hard way on many different occasions. So it became, go ahead.
So with that, right? And understanding how to rewire our brain and stuff, and understanding how once we hold certain things in or whatever, it does manifest in different ways throughout our bodies. I think some of it too comes from us being like not understanding how our body responds to the outer like what is our body's triggers, right? Because some of us are real sensitive in the spiritual realm, and then once we get in certain spaces, certain environments, which I'm pretty sure is kind of similar with epilepsy, that will trigger because the energy. So once we talk about emotions is energy and motion. And so once we hold energies in certain spaces and we don't know how to put a shield of light around us, then all those energies begin to come into us. And so like our brain is a electric center, like it's a that in our heart has the most. So that's the reason why it's the mind and heart coherence that have to be in alignment, and it's the one. And so but once it's something that is in balance off of that, our body responds. And so this goes back to what you were saying earlier about us having to have that wisdom and that understanding, and also how to figure out how to come into alignment with our body, because it's we're also energy. And so as you come into those spaces, and I don't know exactly how epilepsy work and if it has anything to do with the is it electrical? Can you explain to those of us that do not understand epilepsy? Because a lot of us, we just love to say, oh, read it in the Bible, and we see where someone in the Bible had epilepsy and Jesus came out and cast out a demon or what. And that's another thing. If we're supposed to be so powerful, why am I? Apparently it's something that I don't know. It's still some information, some knowledge that I have get to, for me to be able to walk in that authority to reach out to you and say, hey, be ye healed, like leave her and do not enter back into her. Right. I'm sorry. That's just my pet peeve of my own. And that's the reason why sometimes I want to close my own mouth, because I'm like, I'm not operating in what I know, but I'm trying to learn it. But help us understand, what is epilepsy?
Okay, so epilepsy is a neurological disorder. It happens when, so basically, to put it in layman's terms, your brain full of brain waves, vibrations. And what happens is there's a distortion somewhere in your brain that happens, and during that distortion, it can cause seizures. And so epilepsy, like, so sometimes people have seizures and don't have epilepsy. So there is a distinction, but it's basically just a distortion in your brain wave pattern. And so it was something that I received. I got it through, it was hereditary. My father had it, and it got passed down to me. And I didn't start having seizures until I was in my teenage years. I was able to go my childhood without them, thankfully. But uh, it didn't come across until I was a teenager, and I started off having blackouts, or what we thought were blackouts. And I would just sit maybe for 10 to 20 seconds and just space out. And my mom began to notice it more and more. And we went to the doctor, and we found out that I was having something called absent seizures. And those, like I said, they look like blackouts. They are small, very quick seizures where you kind of, the body leaves itself, and then it comes back into it. And a lot of times you're not aware, and some people are aware. Me, unfortunately, I'm usually unaware when that happens. And then I also have grand mal seizures. Grand mal seizures are, they are the general what most people know of. They're the shaking, convulsive type of seizures. And those happen for me when really anything can trigger a grand mal seizure for me. And basically, when you have epilepsy, it is so much, like you were talking about before, it is so much that comes into it and that goes on to it, that a lot of people just don't understand, that go way beyond seizures. So there are things like memory loss. There are things like the memory loss is very, very heavy. It differs depending on the person. I will say that it differs depending on the person, but it's very, very common in epilepsy. And then you also have, there are almost over 40, 50 different type of seizures, and they all look differently. So I am, and something that I do, being an author and an advocate, is I try to make sure that people who have epilepsy, could have it, or just knowledgeable or unknowledgeable of it, understand that there is so much more to living beyond their diagnosis. And that can stretch to any person with chronic illness. But when you have epilepsy, you have so many limitations. They can't drive majority of the time. And that feeling of embarrassment and guilt is something that kind of comes with it. It's like a package deal, because you can have a seizure in front of somebody, and it's very vulnerable. It puts you in a complete state of unknown. What happens usually is you have an aura first, and the aura is like the pre-seizure. It's like the warning when you start to feel things like dizziness. For me, my triggers are, I blink a lot, I stutter, I might smack, like when I'm talking, I might smack my lips on multiple times, and different things like that. I shake. And a lot of times my family will know when I'm doing those things, okay, she's about to have a seizure, or a seizure is on the way. And then you go into the seizure. Of course, I'm unconscious. You come back to, and then know nothing. You have no knowledge of what happened. You were not present when that happened. And people usually have to fill me in on, tell me what happened and what's going on, and for me to come back to and be able to get back. So I've had seizures in public places. I've had seizures at church. I've had seizures in restaurants and at parties and things like that. And you get to a place where it's like, okay, I don't want to ruin the event. I don't decline going out with friends. I've declined. I have put myself in a position on many different occasions where I limited myself in my living because I was so afraid of what I have already experienced coming up again and now being attached to somebody else. I can deal with my experiences by myself. You know what I'm saying? When it's just me that has to deal with it, that's cool. But then when it starts to affect other people, it's like you hide into such a box and you put yourself out of harm's way, then there's no room for awareness. There's no room for real understanding beyond just, hey, people have seizures, what to do when somebody has a seizure, the medical side of it. I 100% believe epilepsy is a very, very, very spiritual disorder. Mm-hmm. It's not a spiritual disorder as far as you are just, there's something disoriented within your spirit, but I feel like it is heavily connected because it is through our vibrations. It is, mm-hmm. and that is the strongest source of spirituality is through vibration. And so when that gets distorted, a lot of times when I would come back to, I would just be like, oh, thank God, thank God, thank God, thank God. A lot of people do the same thing because you can die from having a seizure. Mm-hmm. But really, when I started to grasp it more and more, and I started thinking, okay, where did I go? Something in me left outside of just me being unconscious. Something
that was my question. Like, as soon as you said, like, people have to fill you in and you don't know. And I'm like, where did she go in the spiritual realm? Like, if she's not there, and like when she black out, what the heck? When she black out, when she blacks out or whatever, like where do you go? Now I have a question for you, right? Mm-hmm. So in those spaces, because of course you can't shut yourself off. That's not right. A way to live, right? And so say in those spaces, for those of us that do not know, if we're ever in a space and someone is having a seizure, what are we to do? How are we to help that person? Because we don't know. And I'm telling you, if you had one in front of me, the only thing I know is to start calling on the source from above and start calling on angels and, right. and going into spiritual tongues and laying hands right. and commanding your body. And I only know how to hit you from a spiritual perspective right. or whatever. Okay. Like and I think I know to turn you on your side to make sure you don't swallow or choke on your tongue. But that's the only thing I know. So I'm gonna turn you on your side and go in in tongues. More than likely, I'm gonna go into my tongue because I don't know what's going on. So I'm like, hey, this is a conversation between heaven and whatever's going on in the spiritual realm. Right. I just need to be a vessel. So let me know what else I'm supposed to be doing besides going in tongues and turning you on your side.
Yeah, well, you actually were starting off at a good place. When somebody does have a seizure, that is the first thing that you want to do. Well, of course, you want to make sure that there's nothing around them that they could injure themselves with. Because like I said, there's so many different types of seizures, but if somebody is having a convulsive seizure, and by convulsive, I mean their body moving around, they might stiff up, different things like that, then you would turn them on the side, and then, of course, make sure that nothing is around that they could hit themselves on. You would more than likely time the seizure and pay close attention to how long they're having the seizure. If they have a seizure for longer than like 5 minutes, then I would suggest to call 911 or to call an ambulance or something like that. If they're pregnant or if they get injured from the seizure, you would call 911. But any other case, you really just let them have it. There's not really too much that you can do because there's so much going on out of that own person's control. You know what I mean? So you would turn them on the side. You probably would levitate their head if you had something around that could do that, like a pillow, some type of cushion, or if you would want to just hold the top of their head, as they're having it. The swallow their tongue. So people with when someone has a seizure, they don't actually swallow their tongue. They make a very choking sound. It very much so sounds like they're swallowing their tongue, but they don't. Usually they bite down hard on their tongue. And so when you turn them on the side, it kind of helps them to breathe through easier. It helps them to for the seizure to rest, and it helps just to protect them from their own body. Because what happens is, what you don't want to do at all is to hold a person down. That will hurt them in the end result. Because somebody, let's say I had a seizure. We're in the same room. I have a seizure, and you turn me over, and then you're frightened by what you're seeing that I'm doing. I'm convulsing, my arms all over the place, things like that. So you hold my arm so I don't hit myself in the face, and I don't, things like that. But what's going to happen to me later is I'm going to feel all of that later. What's going on inside the body is all the muscles, all of my muscles, all my tissues, all of my what's the word I'm looking for? All of my vibrations are all going on while during that seizure at the same time. So you can't see it, but my muscles in my shoulder are flexing right now. Muscles in my arm flexing right now. Muscles in my neck, everything is flexing. Even if I'm stiff and it looks like I'm not doing anything, they're going to be flexing. So imagine if the body was going wild and crazy and then you're pushing down on it. They're going to feel that later on. So you just lay them on their side, allow them to have it, wait till they come to, make sure that nothing is around them that they can harm themselves with, nothing that they could hit themselves on. I have had multiple seizures where I had injuries just from falling. The fall itself was really what got me injured. So in the seizure, it looks a lot more scary and it sounds a lot more scary than it actually is. Usually, unless it's the person's first time having a seizure, don't call the police. I mean, don't call the 911. Let them have the seizure. They'll come to. If it's just long and they're not coming out, oh yeah, you want to call an ambulance. But other than that, you're just going to do literally exactly what you say. You're going to turn them on the side, time the seizure.
I'm turn your music on and like, hey, let me help you out. Let me give you something to dance.
Yeah. Set the mood for you when you come back.
Set the mood for you. Okay, so I have one more question. I know we got to get out of here because I know we didn't even get a chance to talk about it's divine writing.
We got to have a part 2, Tish.
I know we're definitely going to do a part 2. You have to reschedule once it's convenient for you. But so I have a question, right? And this is curiosity. Do meditation help you? Like not doing a seizure, of course, but do meditation help lower sometimes the thing for your seizures and stuff? How does meditation help you, or does it help you?
Absolutely, it helps 100% for me. Like I said, every person is different, but what's going on is it's the imbalance of your brain waves. It's an imbalance. Those vibrations are jumping. They're all over the place. And I am an avid meditator. I used to teach meditation. And one of the things that help is when I start to feel, or when you start to feel a seizure coming on, starting at a place of breath, just taking a few deep breaths to come back and just vacuum over those crazy vibrations that are going, just settle them down, to calm them down. And then when you go into a state of meditation, now you're combining your entire body and your spirit to fall into the same alignment as the breath that you're starting in. And it 100% helps. I have avoided multiple seizures, especially in public, doing that. And while it may not always work, sometimes the seizure is going to push through and it's going to do what it does, unfortunately. However, that is as far as a holistic, natural remedy that anybody can do that doesn't have side effects. 100% I would recommend meditation. Even just sitting every day for a good 10 minutes to regulate your spirit will help keep you at a very stable place.
Okay, one last question. I'm sorry. We definitely have to do a part 2. Okay, so for those that are having events, and how do we make the atmosphere? I remember you mentioned something about like it wasn't epilepsy friendly, or like I don't know if how do we make atmospheres epilepsy friendly for those that we know as maybe coming in and might have something that, just to make sure we're not triggering anyone?
Right. I would say, as to the extent that you can, to be as vocal about what is expected. So, for instance, the place that I told you about that I had went to, I've never been there before. I had no idea that they were going to have the amount of lights that they had. And for me, LED lights and things like that aren't really often a trigger, but the extensive amount that they had and the patterns in which they were going, like flashing and different things, it ended up triggering me. So if you're having an event and you know that it's going to be dark and you're going to have different type of lights, I would say that into the flyer, or I would say something in a sense of be cautious or seizure caution. Just some type of awareness of, hey, this could, because like I said, lights, sound, I mean, really people can be triggered through anything. So it's kind of hard to prepare for something like that. And honestly, it is. It's kind of hard to prepare for something like that. But as vocal as you can be, it would be very helpful. Having somebody there, really being aware of what to do when somebody has a seizure. Businesses, schools, churches, any place that is going to have public people, as long as you can have someone around or yourself have some type of awareness of what to do if somebody has a seizure, that would cover so many bases. Because when people are just off on their own and don't know what to do, then that causes a ripple effect of unnecessary problems. But the best thing that you can do is just depending on the event. If you have an event that's going to be loud, it's going to be bright lights, and it's going to be flickering lights. If you know that you're going to have dancing lights and you're like a concert, for instance, you just have that disclaimer. Seizure trigger possible, or not possible, but just in the wording, some type of wording to where, okay, I know that there's going to be a crazy amount of lights at this place. I should maybe wear some shades or something that could distort that, or maybe I can't go, or any type of thing where maybe it is fast. For instance, I don't know too many events that would have something like this, but let's say a roller coaster as far as speed goes. In a situation like that, you would have to, that's automatically obvious that that's something that could trigger you. In a situation where it's just open and people might be talking or they have some food and things like that, then another thing that you could do is try to opt for things like padded chairs and different type of first aid kits on having those on deck. So that way, if anything were to happen, you can immediately just kind of transition and flow with it as it goes. Having a plan already. If somebody has worked, if there are people who have seizures, if somebody was to be triggered, already having a plan in mind. Okay, we're gonna pull. You don't want to have somebody to have a big seizure in front and in the venue, and that person doesn't want to do that either. They don't want all eyes on them, and they don't want. Neither does the actual event. We're going to be real about it. The event doesn't want that as well. So you want to have an escape plan. You want to have somewhere where it's like, okay, they can rest afterward, or just any type of understanding between yourself and your staff or whomever is there as far as safety precautions. As long as you are willing and able to take certain safety precautions, then you should be good. You don't have to do anything super extra. More than likely, that person already knows what they need. And you just make sure that you're prepared on your end as far as vocal about anything that could trigger somebody, lights, sounds, fast-paced videos. If you got a video that has a lot of transactions, a lot of times we use like CapCuts, and they have those, those little effects that have like the lights and stuff on them. If you're gonna have things like that, then maybe put a disclaimer. Other than that, just have a plan in place.
Awesome. Well, I know we got to get out of here. Is there anything you want to leave us with? You definitely have to come back again.
Yes. Tish, we have got to talk again. But I just want to leave the people with I am an author and pushing a lot of my advocacy through my storytelling. So I currently have a children's book out now called Kinsey Peace. It's available on any platform, Walmart, Target, Barnes & Noble, anywhere you shop, you more than likely can find it. It's called Kinsey piece. It teaches young children how to have inner peace through loving their hair. And then we also have something exciting coming out soon called The Silent Storm, which is a dramatization book, but it will be talking about epilepsy through a very creative style. It's a thriller. So be on the lookout for that. And just follow me here at author Tyler P. if you have any more questions or want to take a look further into any of the projects that I have going on.
That's awesome. Listen, you definitely have to come back so we could talk about those things as well. Listen, I can talk to you hours.
Me too, Tish.
But we have to get out of here.
I didn't even realize time had went by just that fast.
I know it. Like this, it did go by quick. I looked at it once the time was at 30 something. I was just like, wait a minute, I haven't even got into asking her nothing about epilepsy or
And then I also have
I'm because you're in Atlanta, right?
Yes, I'm in Atlanta, born and raised here.
I'm just gonna have to just come up there for lunch one day and be like, hold on.
Listen, you got my number. We gonna talk too.
Yes. I would love that. And then just to also get more information about meditation and stuff. Meditation is something new to me, but one thing that I say is meditation is my medication. And so, so for me, like, I definitely want to know a little bit more because I haven't had anyone teach me how to do meditation. I went through meditation through what the Holy Spirit told me to do at the time.
Right. And so I will say this, just with starting off something that's just easy to do and it's kind of fun. On YouTube, there are a lot of DJs and things like that. Yeah, but there's music. So I wouldn't look up meditation music. There's something called focus music. And it's I can't tell you the hertz or the frequency is at. I think it's like 514 or something like that. I can't remember, but I put it on when I'm writing, when I'm just in my laptop. It creates such a still and peaceful space for you to be able to really stay focused in. And just look up focus music on YouTube. That's a great place to start. And then soon you're going to start realizing you're going to start tapping into the actual vibration of the music. And then that alone is meditative. So it's just a fun, easy, quick thing to do.
Definitely would try that. I know a lot of times I sleep listening to 432 hertz.
Okay. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay.
I stay at 432 hertz a lot of times. So definitely need to venture out a little bit more. I was thinking about going to the 528 or whatever. So yes. Yes. Okay. All right. Well, listen, thank you for coming. We will definitely see you again. I will see you in, I want to say I will make it to Milwaukee as well. So I will see you.
I actually will be there in June, but I won't be a speaker. I'll just be a featured brand. I'll be there as a vendor. So you'll probably see me there in June as well.
Look, more than likely I drive. And so, hey, if you want to ride and don't want to fly, let me know. Let me know. And you know what? I meditate sometime while driving. Well, not meditate. Yeah. Well, I can't say meditate. I do my box breathing a lot while driving. So look, that's somebody I can ride with. And if I decided I want to turn on to different type of music, it's like, oh, this is somebody that have
you can do that with me.
With riding with nothing but this music on it and no sound.
We can listen to a whole sound bowl the whole time.
That part. So I appreciate you. We'll see you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. It was so much fun.
Awesome. All right. Y'all make sure y'all come and y'all make sure y'all connect with her at author Tyler P. Make sure you go out, support her, help her spread epilepsy awareness, because that is something that a lot of us do not know about as well. And if anything, make sure you lift up them vibrations. All right. Y'all have a great day.
Have a good one. Peace be with you.